Word is out there's a serious card game going on in the East End of London with big money on the table. The notorious Poker Den is open for business, and the clientele include some massive names in the world of sport, all vying for a piece of the £84,000 prize pool. An incredible lineup competing in this season's Party Poker Sports Stars Challenge 4, including 14-time World Darts Champion Phil Taylor, motor racing stars Fisichella and Jacques Villeneuve, and the former captain of the French national rugby side, Raphael Ibanez. Plus, for the first time ever, 2 internet qualifiers will experience the poker game of their lives as they compete in each heat against these sporting heroes. Coming up right now, some of the biggest names from the world of golf head into the Poker Den. A Northern Irishman who plays on the European Tour. He made his Ryder Cup debut in 2008 and is a winner of one of Europe's most prestigious tournament, the Scottish Open. This is Graeme McDowell. A French golfer with 2 European Tour victories. He's most famous for coming second at the 1999 Open Championship. This is Jean Vandevelde. A South African golfing legend with more than 20 tournament victories to his name, 10 on the PGA Tour, including the World Series of Golf. This is David Frost. This British golfer became only the second rookie to earn his card on the European Tour and the PGA Tour in the same season. Hugely talented, charismatic, and quirky, John E. Morgan. A Scottish golfer who was one of the leading players on the European Tour for 2 decades. He played on 8 Ryder Cup teams and was the winning captain in 2002, Sam Torrance. Our first online qualifier is from Manchester. Qualifying for this tournament is his biggest win. This is caretaker Paul Stevens. Our second online qualifier hails from Germany with 3 years poker experience. It's Daniel Nachman. Who will exchange their putts for pots, and who will be back at the clubhouse for lunch? It's not how you drive, it's how you arrive. There's 7 players on this table, 5 golfers, and they can swing a stick. Happy to be joined by Nick Persaud. I think these golfers can play some poker.
Yeah, they look pretty good. I know Sam Torrance thinks a lot of his own game, so it'll be good to see him play.
Chips on the table. Green chips worth $25. They're the ponies. Blue chips are $50, and the red chips worth $100. $2,000 in front of each player and $14K in play. And this table seems, I don't want to say unusually, but I think, you know, a lot of handshakes all around. Something about the golfing community, obviously. You know, you're friendly with everyone because you play with them, you know, all the time. You mix it up. You always play with every different person.
Yeah, these guys have done a lot of travelling, been around the world, played together for a long time, and you can have a long career in golf, so you can build those relationships over a long period of time. I mean, I remember watching David Frost, Sam Torrance when I was a kid, and these guys are still, there's like seniors tours. I mean, these guys can be competitive for like, you know, 40 years nearly.
It's kind of like poker too. You know, as traveling as a poker player, you always end up after you play in the bar. You have to be friendly with most people.
Yeah, you have to get on with people because, you know, bad blood's no good in our game, and you know, you got to share rooms with people, drink with people, eat with people, borrow money off people,
and then beat them on Sundays.
Yeah, and then beat them on Sunday.
This has been limped in.
Okay.
Pair.
By David Frost. Yeah, it is. And Vandevelde's led out here with bottom pair.
If you want to.
100 plus.
Yeah. If you wanted to raise, you just say raise, and then we
with this you can go forward. How long we got? That's enough.
I have the feeling, Nick, that as far as poker experience goes, Graeme has some, Vandevelde has a lot, and Frost has not very much. Sort of like the 3 bears.
Well, the one with not very much must be favourite then, Jesse. So.
Vandevelde really, he was kind of explaining the game a little bit to Frost, but this 50. Bet now, well, that's a nice bet. I think that's a bet.
Call.
In a sense, almost like understanding that that's almost like a check, except in this case, Frost isn't going to bet more.
and gives himself an opportunity to hit a free river card. So
that was pretty clever. Now he's going to bet big. Now he's going to bet big and hope to get paid off.
200.
These guys are ruthless. It's
Cool.
He's played that hand very well, Jean Vandevelde, if you know what I mean, Nick.
2 pairs.
well, he made 2 pair on the river, and poor old David Frost
So we have queens and twos.
wondering what the hell went on there. Look, Jack 9 no good, unfortunately.
You know, it's golf. It's all about matching up, and you could be friendly with the guy, but when you're in the pot with him, I think golfers have the right poker instincts.
First blood to Jean.
What can you do?
Off the flyer, Frosty.
No, you didn't. But I shouldn't have. But
Vandevelde saying, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit that, but I did."
Je suis désolé.
around the table.
I fold, my lovely.
What is that hat that he's wearing over there?
That's a classic beanie, isn't it? Very retro, I think.
John Morgan.
Cool.
He looks like a character to me.
He is. He's quite a
Okay,
character.
cool.
Um,
Now you're happy as you are?
Yeah.
No race.
Frost, could be the guy who's he's definitely the guy who's won the most golf tournaments out of all these. I think he won 10 times on the PGA Tour or something. Fantastic career. Although he's never gotten as close in a major as someone like Jean Vandevelde. Look at Vandevelde, the Queen Deuce.
He likes the Queen Deuce. That's twice now. He's made 2 pair with it, but I don't think he's going to get on this time.
Pass.
Jeez.
Is he going to show it? No, he doesn't show
Scary,
it.
man. Too scary. Dirty.
I'm guessing, Vandevelde, because he handles the chips well, that he's
Not touching. Okay.
doesn't have had most of experience in live games. France, obviously, huge poker hotbed. Maybe Vandevelde has dipped down to the old aviation club or something like that.
Very possible. It's getting very popular over in France. Has been for a long time, and I've got a feeling on his days off, if he doesn't make the cut, he might spend the other 2 days playing poker, possibly.
Pass. Pass. Pass.
Pardon.
Wow, our chip leader, Vandevelde. 2 kings.
No,
my turn.
when I come to you, you just stay there a minute.
I did kind of have to say, Nick. We've had have a lot of sporting legends in this tournament, but for me, Vandevelde is one of my personal sporting heroes. Raised here with that. I'd love to see
Burning
him
my
do
fingers. What can I tell
And
you?
you picked him.
Let me have a look. Maybe I made a mistake. Can I get them back?
He's got some good chat too, doesn't he?
So 250 if you want to call.
And he's made a big
Call.
raise 5 times here.
Call or you can raise.
It's gone over now, so we're just going to leave it as a...
Vandevelde says, Sam's looking over him saying, "You naughty boy, you." And John just looked back like a helpless puppy and said, "Hey."
Oh, John's got
see
2
that
10s. Yeah,
This could be a very big pot.
this could be. If this board comes low,
You worked into there. I'll fold.
then
Well, there's already
John
800
Morgan.
in here. It's tough to get away from the 10s, isn't it?
Marvellous.
it's very hard to get away pre-flop from 2 10s, yeah, in this format.
You like the fact that he's called here, though, don't you?
Well,
Oh my gosh.
it's a bit of a shame the ace is out there to kill his action, but Frost might be in trouble. Vandevelde's got a gut shot. John's got a set.
Check.
Nice. Sneaky check. And Vandevelde will have to be careful he
300.
doesn't overcommit himself here, Nick. Is he getting raised?
I think
Call.
David just calls,
Call.
doesn't he? Yeah.
Call.
So he's just going to call.
I'm going home. I've done my time.
This is a bit dangerous. He knows his hand is good, Morgan, but he's letting the others have a free card here. He knows there's a straightening board out there.
Well, he's got a
He's
full
in
house
good
now.
shot, good shape now. You're right. He's done well here.
I'm all in.
All in.
And Vandevelde will probably ask
I
for
see
a
that.
count. He's calling!
How much have you got?
Is that a
Call.
call? Call. All in.
Wow.
And now to yourself.
Morgan's got him. And what about Frost?
I think Frost is going to call as well.
Call.
Call.
Oh dear.
Oh
see.
my gosh!
Three-way
We could have two guys knocked
You can see the real
out.
players here. They have no idea.
Give me your card.
I think Vandevelde has a few more chips, but I'll tell you what, the queen's no good to him. Just the king or the jack, Frost can win with an ace.
Yeah. Frost can win with an ace. Or the jack as well.
Good hand, Johnny.
Oh, sorry, you're absolutely right. It's Frost who wins with the jack.
Yeah, jack's
Yeah, you
full
need
of
to
aces.
call.
Vandevelde can only win with the kings.
Absolutely.
Bring your chips forward.
That's why we've got the percentages there. Look at that, 85% for John Morgan with 2 tens. Tens full of jacks.
Well,
He's a huge favourite. And look at that, 5,500 chips in the middle here. This is a huge pot at this stage.
massive.
When's the bus leaving?
Look at the king coming out.
When's the bus leaving?
The statistics are not for me though.
I was talking to Morgan earlier.
I reckon
He was well up
if
for
someone
this.
comes in, I'm going to run round here like a mad donkey.
An ace would give it to
Percentage
Frosty.
is not big.
An ace for Frosty.
An ace for Frosty, a king for...
King for John.
De 4%.
Okay.
Tens full of jacks. Look at the size of that
Yeah.
pot. And
Morning. Good morning.
I think they're going to have to count these down. I think Frost is probably going home. I don't know what shape Vandevelde's in.
3-10.
I think Vandevelde had a few more chips
That was a
than
horny move right there.
John
man.
Morgan.
You're gonna go, sweet.
Did you?
This is a guy, John Morgan, hugely talented in golf. Some injuries, health problems have sort of kept him back. He still had some results. Maybe poker is his game.
He played that hand quite nicely. He bet all in on the turn and got 2 calls. So it worked out very, very well for him there.
Well, I could have won that hand and this hand and just had him get one card. I could have won that hand there.
You can see what a character that Morgan is too, can't you?
Anyone wears a hat like that's got to be a character.
I tell you what, I was like that. I was like,
3 jacks and a 4.
I liked his poker face. He sang, you know, he gave it the verbal.
Perfect.
No, you weren't.
He really played that.
I'm glad he won that pot. I wanted to see a lot of him in this heat, and it looks like he's going to be around for a while.
That's to wipe the smile off Vandevelde's face, hasn't it?
I'm sorry, sir.
That's fine.
Fairways. See you later.
Poor David Frost. Good game, mate.
Frosty, good luck.
Yeah, 10 victories on the PGA Tour. 0 hands won here in the poker den. Well, it only took 4 hands for David Frost to make his exit. And Johnny Morgan, apparently the fastest player ever in golf to get both his European Tour and his PGA Tour card. And here, fastest player to get to 5,450. That's some lead.
Call. Pass. Pass.
Right, hun.
I'm good, babe, you?
And
Check me down.
Graeme McDowell's, he's played a pretty steady game so far. I mean, we haven't seen much action, but Graeme does seem to be comfortable holding 2 cards, doesn't he?
He's playing a solid game, and that's what you should be doing at these stages. You should be preserving your stack, looking for good opportunities.
Now, if Morgan wants to keep
Check.
it running, he could have popped in a bet there. Maybe he's of the mind that I won't be checking twice.
Check.
He's been checked to twice. He's got the worst hand, which is always a good reason to bet when you've got the worst hand. He's got to fold.
And he's going big or going home. 200 into $125 pot. That's a lot of pressure, and that's going to work.
Probably been playing poker, I would say, for 2-3 years, I would say. I don't know if I'm any good at it. I like that you can stare the other guy out, and then you can just play with them, wind them up, have a bit of fun around it. I just hopefully we can get some music going when we're playing, so it'd be a bit of fun, head, shoulders, knees and toes or something when we're playing. Well, it'd be quality to win today, I must admit. Oh man, do you know what? I just milk it all the way to the bank with them. I just, every week I'll be on the range and they'll be there and I'll be just going, yeah, how you doing, man? Got you. One in the bag, you know, coming down the last hole when we play a tournament, stand on the first tee, you know, with a couple of thousand people watch us and go, hey, do you remember our poker game? Remember I pulled that last card out on the last hand and just took your money off you? Yeah, I'll get them to remind it. There we go.
Beginner's luck, man. I've never played the game before.
Oh, here we go. He's giving it all the verbal. He's never played.
Got lucky. I thought four house was the worst hand you could get.
You see?
He's got a bad knee, hasn't swung a club in months, and is playing off a 24 handicap. Yet, somehow he's got all the chips.
He's got a pair. It's hard to get a pair in poker, and he's got another pair, so...
I mean, these poker golfers are natural poker players. It's all about the walk up to the first tee.
Call. No raise.
4 ways here, and Vandevelde needs to make something happen.
They've all got similar cards. Lots of 5s, lots of 7s, lots of middling cards.
Nachman's played this from the button with the 9-4. He's the only one who's made a pair. It's...
Well, Morgan's still got his pair of 5s. I'm not sure whether he's going to like it on this board. 2 overcards.
Forgot that.
If he bets, though...
Checo.
Oh, he checoed.
So if you're going to play this hand in position here on the button, you have to be prepared to take a stab like this, don't you, Nick?
Yeah, at some point. If he gets called, he's probably going to be in a bit of trouble. But, you know, the bet won. He took it down. He's playing well so far, Daniel.
He is. Aggression's done the deed for him.
And the Germans are very aggressive. We've got they're like the new Scandinavians to poker. There's been a huge revolution of poker in Germany. They're very well educated, very smart, very fearless, very proud, and they've turned out a lot of very, very good poker players in recent years.
It was the funniest thing you've ever seen. It was a funny, and Simon Cowell would not let it go. This guy was doing an act where he got tied up in a straitjacket, attached to a rope upside down.
Yeah, sorry, man.
And
there was a time when the Germans, I don't want to say they were a laughing stock in the poker world, but people didn't mind. They had this reputation as very tight and...
It's not the rope was going to burn and he's going to fall. Oh,
but not anymore.
Simon goes, no, it's, yeah.
Oh, he kept at it too, didn't he?
Yeah.
I do like the spirit this game is being played in, though. It's competition, but it's friendly competition. But nobody's getting away with anything.
Bit of Coolidge, yeah.
No raise.
Bit of Coolidge. Yeah.
He's got good chat. McDowell, obviously, just trying to take it easy here. Now, if Morgan checks, does McDowell have to bet to find out where he's at to take the pot? I mean,
Well, he's going to have the best hand a lot of the time, so a bet for value. Looks like John's going to bet
100.
his pair, but I don't think Graham's going to go away that easily, so he's going to call.
It's tricky, though. I mean, do you like the call overall better than a raise?
Yeah, I like the call. If you raise, you fold out worse hands and get called by better hands, generally speaking. So, be interesting to see whether John keeps firing. He's got 2 pair now, so wow.
That was a trappy check at there, wasn't it? That was a check to raise.
Yeah, that was...
Oh my gosh! What could we have here? And it just depends how big McDowell wants to go.
200.
Morgan can't believe that he could be losing here. What do you... Oh!
Raise.
Graeme! Wait, you know, he might get re-raised.
200 more.
He
4
might get
total.
re-raised. He just got called. It could have been a lot bigger. If he went all in, he would have got a call.
Okay.
That was a filthy river.
Very nasty, wasn't it?
That was filth, man.
You can't say any better than that.
My name's Graeme McDowell. I'm a European Tour golfer. I've been playing for about 6.5, 7 years in the European Tour. My biggest achievement in golf would probably be winning the Scottish Open last year at Loch Lomond. Had my mum and dad in the crowd, which was pretty cool. And yeah, it's my biggest win so far. So obviously chasing a major and playing the Ryder Cup last year was a dream come true as well. Now, obviously, I'm hoping to be last man standing at the table. John Morgan's obviously a guy I know pretty well. He's a pretty flamboyant character, and he's going to be a lot of fun at the table. And I think Sam's the man to watch out for on the table, so I'll be keeping a close eye on what he's up to. And if I can stay close to him, I'll be happy enough. A lot of the boys in the golf tour know I'm coming here today, and you know, they'll be expecting me to be on the first flight home pretty quickly. So it's important that I, you know, play nice and tight and conservative, maybe, and get a feel for the boys at the table. And if I could be, if I could win today, I think that would be muchos kudos on the old bragging rights stage. And obviously, I'd start to maybe fancy myself as a bit of poker player going forward.
Nice hand.
Thank you. How can you say that's a nice hand?
Well, it's better than Jack 3.
Oh.
Yeah, at least they started with 2-7.
Yeah, but I was wheeling up to that.
It's tough to play against unpredictable.
The Northern Irishman McDowell has been in very good form with his golf game for quite a few years now, and looks like that's transferring over to the poker table. I noticed share something in common with some poker players. I noticed the logo on his pants. He has the same tailor as Liam Flood. It's a tailor known for actually giving sponsorships to poker players.
Call.
Oh, wow.
No raise.
Limp in from McDowell here. He's let Torrance in the big blind and Morgan in cheaply, who seems to still be ruining that 7 on the river. Get back into this hand, though.
Is it me?
Yeah.
I'll check.
Check.
75.
75.
And this is a good pop by Torrance try and take this pot cheaply?
I'll have to see that and raise, my man. 200.
Raise to 275.
Sam's going to say, I've had just about enough of you pretty soon.
Wow. Well, he bet straight into top pairs. He's a bit unlucky there. But just goes to show what Sam's plan is today. He's not going to hold any prisoners.
Sorry, man.
Well, John Morgan, he won a big pot. He's stolen a couple. He seems to have all the gears here to me, Nick.
Absolutely. He's got a dominant chip lead at the moment. He's playing lots and lots of hands. So he's got to be favourite at this stage, I've got to say.
But if you just think of the different things Morgan has already brought to the table, he's done the smooth call. He's done the big all-in. He's done the check raise, the trap check. He's stolen the pot with nothing. He does seem to really be aware of where he's at in hands.
Absolutely. He seems to definitely have played this game before.
Call.
Got a feeling though he likes to play the fool a little bit.
Now, McDowell, he could have moved there. I'm not saying he had to. What do you think?
I would have liked to have seen John Vandevelde move with the ace-9. There's just a limp in there from Graeme with king-5 of hearts. Vandevelde's got an ace with a decent-ish kicker with 5 big blinds. I think it was time to go, but let's see if he hits the ace.
Waiting for the call.
Check.
2 9's actually the best hand.
Check.
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 Jean, get the money in there. What if it comes a king or an ace?
Check. Check. Check.
Check.
Check.
Check.
Check.
He's playing very carefully there, Vandevelde. It's dangerous.
Check.
200.
200.
And a funny little check here, bet here from Paul Stevens.
I want to see that.
Call.
I don't know if it was a defensive bet or a bet for value, Nick.
Cards, please.
I'm not sure. Might have been a bet for value, but
He's called you.
2 6s.
2 9s.
Got the 9s.
Them 9s, huh?
And that brings Jean Vandevelde back into this game, Jesse.
Great hand right there, man.
That's
I
it.
had you beat there. I had the queen.
Several strokes under par here. Morgan's already had an eagle and a hole in one.
Pass. Pass.
Boring.
You kind of get the feeling that Morgan could play about 6 tables at once on the internet, don't you?
Absolutely.
250 total.
Torrance is far from bored. In fact, what he wants is a call. Options here for Nachman.
Yep, lots of options. Wow.
that
Not feeling
was
it, man.
a decision that to me shows a lot of maturity about his stack size, the respect he's given Torrance. That's not most people would have called. And would have been wrong.
All of his options suck. You know, folding seems bad, re-raising commits you too much of your chips, calling and check folding the boards when you're so shallow stacked in this format sucks. He had 3 horrible options there, and he might have actually taken the best of the worst.
You almost
I'm glad I didn't tussle with that.
tried something.
Nachman and McDowell
the PC.
feathers above their
Glad I didn't
starting
tackle
stack.
that now, you
Morgan has the rest.
Packing a little bit more heat than I was in, sir.
And you know what? If Torrance is going to get that much respect every time he raises, he's going to have to open his game up a little bit to succeed here.
A little 100 on that bad boy, I think.
These might be no easy cushions.
Call.
Check.
Talk about all the golfers coming from Northern Ireland. McDowell, reading his resume, he says he's become very friendly with this Rory McIlroy, who's raising everybody's eyebrows.
Is that the young kid?
Yeah, the 18-year-old. He's they're touting him, and with good reason, as the next big thing. Actually, he may be the big thing already.
I mean, Northern Ireland has a huge history in producing great golfers, so it's good to see the trend continuing.
I'll bet on that.
I'm sure they all get along.
100.
Darren Clark, of course.
Raise.
Wow, this is what kind of raise is this
300
for
total.
you?
Pass.
You know, there's 3 spades on board. Another spade could ruin his hand. He thinks he's got the best hand. He's raising.
Only a 9.
Unlucky.
A little royal out there.
This is a guy that's come through huge numbers on the internet to come and sit here today. He's earned his place here.
He's German, he's honest. He's not like
He's probably beaten people, you know.
8,000 is the number you have to get through to get here.
8,000 players. This guy can play. Don't worry about that.
1 player's bogeyed and out. 6 remain, but only 1 goes through to the final. Back for more in a moment. Important to have the proper attire in every sport, and I think Morgan's come prepared there. That hat could catch on.
It could catch on in some unusual circles, maybe jockeys. It looks like a little jockey's hat, doesn't it?
Pass.
I think it's a perfect poker beanie.
Call. Pass.
Call. How much?
50 to call.
Yeah, call.
And
Call.
you know,
Check.
McDowell has now limped, I'm guessing 6 hands or 7 hands. At some point, we'll see if someone picks up on that and decides, look, if this guy is limping, I can raise him.
True, and they can raise in position, but I don't think that's the tempo with this match. There's a couple of people with top pair at the moment. McDowell's got top pair, top kicker, which is pretty good. I think Daniel might be in a bit of trouble here.
Overall, though, lead out to find where you're at here with Nachman's hand. This is pretty sensible.
For value and protection, obviously overcards kill your top pair.
I'll raise 200.
This is the thing. He
Raise,
understands that he's got a
cycle.
good hand, top pair, top kicker. And he's made a very small raise.
Pass.
Now, if Stevens gets out of the way, and it's not automatic, but if he does Nachman have to think back to the last time McDowell raised and said he had a big hand?
And he's allowed to do that. I mean, look,
Yep.
he's pretty smart. This is an absolute calling station, someone that just calls. When a calling station shows aggression and actually raises your bet on the flop, you've really got to think whether your 9-3 is any good. And he made a good decision there as well.
He made a great decision, but McDowell taking the money and up to 2,600.
He's taken the money, honey. He's happy with that. 26-25. He's playing a very steady game, Jesse.
He is. He is, and he is a cool cat, isn't he?
Been great.
Poker and golf go hand in hand. There's some big poker players in the States that like to have a few dollars on a game, don't they?
There's, in fact, an online player. I don't know if you know about him. They call him Leather.
Leather Eye,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's issued a challenge. I don't know. He's issued a challenge to the entire world that he wants to bet $1 million that he can beat anybody in the world in a combination of poker and golf, half poker, half golf.
Raise.
Raise.
He thinks he's good enough
across both disciplines.
Yeah. And there's been some debate. Some people think he's just trying to get attention, but some people think that a golfer actually has a much better chance of beating him than a poker player in this,
700.
Tell you what, maybe Johnny Morgan's the man to take him on.
Wow, we got some big hands here.
Now, Torrance raises at 300. The re-raise is 700 from Nachman. What should McDowell be thinking? Raise and re-raise.
It's ace-king. It doesn't come around very often. It's a big, big hand.
700.
That's why he's called. He's in an all-in or fold situation. He should make his decision pre-flop because, he can't be committing as much of his stack.
I wonder what I'm going to do.
There's 3 aces out there, though, Jesse. I mean, his hand, 2 of his outs, one in Morgan's, one in Torrance's hand. Sam's got to get away from this now.
He does, but look at the odds that pot was laying him. 400 into 18. Still, ace-10, you just...
Yeah, ace-10, I mean, he's crushed. Look, I mean, he can, he's got... If he hits the ace, he's behind to ace-king, and if he hits the 10, he's behind to 2 jacks. So he was in a real pickle.
We'll see if Nachman wants to bet every flop, some flops, or no flops.
Well,
the disaster.
Well, one overcard, it can't look a disaster for...
I check.
Check.
Wow.
Bet 500.
And this check here, I mean, I'm guessing that Nachman is saying to himself, this guy plays straight enough that I might be able to check and fold, or at least check call, check fold. What do you think?
Check decide. He's going for a pot control line. He thinks if he bets out and the guy's got a king, he's just going to get too much action. Like, if he'd bet the 500 there, Graeme would have gone all in. What he's looking to do here is check and decide. The size of the bet. He's hoping it goes check, check on the flop. And then obviously another low card comes, and then he can maybe start now betting for value to get value from 2 10s, 2 9s, 2 8s, etc., etc. But with McDowell having the ace-king here, this is a pretty good flop for jacks.
Can I show?
If you pass me, you can show, yeah. Pass.
2 checks, called it.
Good call.
Yeah. What's in those glasses? Is there like
He's got some sick instincts today. I mean, I'm sure a lot of pros watching this at home would be thinking, wow. I mean, yeah, this is impressive stuff.
Oh, I thought you said it before. Sorry.
With such tight liquidity, with such a short stack, he's really, really digging deep and making some very, very... He's just laid down top pair. He's just laid down second pair. It's not a bad flop for jacks. I mean...
Not at all.
Good shooting text.
Great stuff for Graeme McDowell, but Daniel Nachman could easily be walking out right now with a great bad beat story to tell. He's not. He's here to win.
When you said check, I would check sit down so that you could have bet.
Still over 5K. Graeme McDowell taking his fair share and more, nearly doubled a stack. And tell you, the most amazing number up there is that Nachman still has 1,600.
He's still in with a fighting chance. He could have gone broke. He could have done some chips with top pair. He could have done some chips with 2 jacks.
Pass. Pass. Pass.
Call.
Call.
Oh, I don't know about that, Nick.
Sorry.
You didn't say anything before you matched that. Sorry. Call.
It might save his skin, but maybe not.
Put that in there, man.
Raise 200 more.
That was really nice of John Morgan. Really, he's a good guy.
Yeah, and John Vandevelde. There's 500 in the pot. He hasn't got much behind. He needs a jack. He's got the heart though.
He does. I wonder if he can win this pot without making the best hand.
And I like his bet here.
Why?
I got nothing out of that. So.
Because he's made a better hand fold. So, I mean, is he going to show? Is he going to show? No, he's not going to show. Well done, John.
All this for me? Thank you. My name is Jean Vandevelde. I'm French. I'm a professional golfer. Been playing on the European Tour for over 20 years. I'm over-aggressive, and I know that I'm going to have to restrain myself if I want to play more than half an hour because I probably I'm not probably betting with the right hand in my, with the right card in my hand. Now, am I patient? No, I wouldn't describe myself as a patient man. So I have none of the above. Probably somebody will have to come and pinch me if I win, because I would think that I'm still dreaming in my bed. So it would be fun. At the end of the day, we're here to have a good time. We're here to enjoy each other company as well. And of course, the guy who's going to win is going to be delighted. It's going to be fun.
You mentioned Vandevelde's career. He has had a great career. A few injuries slowed him down about 3-4 years ago, but I think he's been back on the tour now, strong as ever.
Pass. Pass.
There's so many different kinds of little nicks and injuries you can get in golf. I mean, in poker, the only real injury you can get in poker is what they call the bankroll injury. You do see people disappear off the scene for a year or two.
I haven't seen my friend for a while, and I bumped into him the other day. So where you been? He went to the poker hospital. So he took a bit of a rest on the sidelines for a while when he was lights out. But
we all been there.
We've all been there.
It's an
occupational hazard, isn't it?
It's an injury that everybody can come back from, but
golf puts a lot of strain on your body. You're hitting the ball, you're doing a lot of like that twisting and turning. Apparently, they suffer a lot of knee injuries, back injuries.
I've been lucky in the past, haven't I?
And they hit the ball so far.
I think I'm running out of luck, really. Have to have a little 100 on that,
100.
little sneaky 100.
A little cheeky 100 with 5 high. Why not?
You know what?
And he's put Sam in a bit of a pickle here.
He certainly
He's bet
has.
half the pot, 1 into 2. Sam's got a cool 1. I mean,
and I mean, you just saw it there. Sam, look at the chips he has. Look at the chips Morgan has. It's tough to fight a guy like that, even if you think he might be bluffing.
And this is a guy that could bet 300-400 on the river as well. So you've got to remember in No Limit Hold'em, it's not the bet you're facing immediately. It is the threat of the second bet.
I love Batman.
And John's got heart to bet again. So
do you know that was done
nice
in
play
Bristol?
by him there.
That sketch was done in Bristol.
Is keeping your ego in check important in this game, isn't it?
Cool.
Absolutely. I think that's true for all sport, but particularly in poker. There's always somebody out there bigger and badder than you.
Limp from the cutoff from Morgan, the blinds. Now, we've never seen him check twice, but once maybe too many with this texture.
He's making raspberries now.
I'll check-o on that one.
Check.
How are the other players viewing Morgan now? I mean, they haven't seen too many of his hands, but they know about his bet frequency.
Well, they've checked. Well, I was going to say if they checked twice, he was going to bet, but
too rich for my blood.
Pass.
Beautiful instincts from Nachman, aren't they?
absolutely. I mean, he's playing against guys that playing fit or fold poker. When they have a hand, they bet, and when they don't, they just check. So when you're playing guys that are sending you very clear signals like that, when they check to you, have a stab.
He has grabbed every chip available. I don't know if you could play his cards any better if everyone had flipped their cards face up on the table.
Absolutely. He wasn't going to get to the river and win with 10 high. He decided betting was his best plan. And all of these chips are very valuable for Mr. Daniel Nachtmann. Nightman, I believe it is in German. I'm not sure though.
Pardon.
Nightmare.
Pardon.
It must be the same as a werewolf. It must be how you say werewolf.
We've got a Scotsman, a Northern Irishman, some Englishmen, a German, a Frenchman.
200 total.
We're all in a rowboat.
Pass.
Gotta keep you honest, Jack.
Yeah, man. Definitely worth it.
Not if you're honest these days.
Very honest.
The action here has been raised to 200 from Morgan, call from McDowell, and the continuation bet here from John E.
He's bet half the pot. He's going to win this. He's got position. He's got the lead in the pot. In fact, he had the best hand, but I just fancied he was always going to win that when McDowell checked to him. And the rich get richer.
Yeah. I was driving last night. Saw an old lady. She was knitting while she was driving behind the wheel. Policeman pulled up, said, "Pull over." She said, "No, socks."
Cool. Pass.
Limp in for Morgan.
Pass. Pass.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, I mean,
Check.
I'm just taking a wild guess. What is John Morgan's bet frequency right now? Is it 70?
I'd love to see the graphics at some point, but I think around this point it must be near the 70s. I'm going to say it's about 65%.
And this trouble for Morgan. Great spot for Vandevelde.
500.
Now he's bet out big here. I mean, is this?
I call and I'll put you all in.
Well, Marty
raise
might
all in?
Marty might get called. Ah, the intentions were good. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
going to go in.
I think they were. I mean, it's a very common phrase if you've watched any Hollywood poker movies.
Yeah, I call your 1,000 and raise you
Right.
another 2. And they say the word call too quickly, but
Don't want to put it in for
he's in
No,
great
it's
shape to
fine.
double up here,
It's
Jesse.
fine.
John, when you said call and I'll put you all in, it was like two phrases. You know, just say, I'll set you all in.
Well, do you want me to pull it back? I don't mind.
No, no. I don't mind.
No chips have gone in before.
Yeah, I know.
Good shooting text.
So far.
Now he has outs here. You can see 28%. A lot of equity right now.
Well, I suppose you need. Oh, there's
Another
the king.
Another king would be again as well.
Come on, you juicy 7.
Can't give me a 7.
Do a Graeme.
King
Give me a 7.
Do a Graeme.
King
7 on the river.
7 on the river.
King
I will
6,
run round like a spanked donkey. If this comes in.
King 6, 7.
Yeah? Yeah.
King 6, 7.
Well done, bud.
Aces and
Good
fives
skills.
hold. And did Morgan pull the trigger too quick, or based on Vandevelde's chip stack, was it pretty much
like to think
automatic?
so.
Very standard. Got to get the guy all in. Bit of a cold deck for him there, but yeah, John Vandevelde back in the game.
There's the leaderboard. 62% bet frequencies mean chips right now. McDowell's up there as well.
He's in more pots than Delia Smith at the moment, 62%. He's nearly in every hand, and he's our chip leader, but a great fight back there from John Vandevelde.
Yeah, you got to rub your eyes twice to see how many he has. He was down to 400.
Absolutely.
Sam Torrance, I mean, he's playing a game that, in this kind of format, often produces dividends. You know, wait for a couple of hands early, hope to get paid off. Right now, though, does he have to change gears? He hasn't caught any cards.
He's got to start doing something. Calling off with Queen 10 out of position isn't going to win this for him. He needs to start waiting for better spots and getting all in.
If I'm not mistaken, this was the hand he was knocked out on in the Poker Million last time I saw him play. Queen 10 of hearts exactly, making the flush on the turn. Getting called for a string bet and getting drawn out on the river. I wonder if he probably doesn't remember that.
I'm sure he does. Poker Million.
That was back when he just had taken up the game of Texas Hold'em. Plays quite regularly now, whether it's on the internet or live. And Johnny Morgan has proved to be a guy who will take pots from Torrance if he's given the opportunity. He's done it every time.
Right, Torrance needs to hit something. I thought maybe a heart or something to give him some outs.
Check.
Check.
Yeah, I did feel like he needed to bet that flop because it seemed like Morgan was going to bet all turns. He hasn't. Have they got the same hand? No, 10 plays.
10 plays, yep. He might bet here, though.
Gotta have a little punt on that, man.
Torrance hates this. Look at his face. Hasn't moved. Oh, he says, you bully.
Wow. It might not be the biggest bet in the world, but in relation to Sam Torrance's stack, it is a big bet. If he had 5,000 chips, 4,000 chips, you would call it.
Wow, you might call anyway. Now, I mean, if you do suspect that Morgan is trying to push you around, overall, is calling between you? Is there a raise here? That I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's come runner on a club. Wow, he's called him.
That was a massive call. What? That was pretty strong.
That's pretty strong.
Wait till you see this. Wait till Torrance turns these over.
I had Jack Bo Diddley's squat.
I had a slightly better diddly squat.
Wow, good instinct, Sam Torrance.
You went for that.
Look at him.
You went for that.
Well, no.
He's been owned. That was a hero
You had
call.
nothing.
That's what you call a hero call. You get the cape out with the S on your chest. You make the call. Very, very thin, but well thought out by Sam.
I'm Sam Torrance, a professional golfer, part-time poker player, and here to enjoy myself. Poker I've been playing for probably 5 years, 6 years, since online poker became the trend. Played cards all my life. I think when you travel a lot, you get into playing cards. You know, there's a lot of time to pass, so that's how I get into it. Poker's not a friendly game. You shouldn't really play poker with your friends. It's a game you play to win. I mean, you might only get one good hand an hour, so when you get that good hand, you've got to play as well and as properly as you can and put them out as quickly as you can. So that'll be it for me. I'd love to win the first game and get onto the final table and see what happens. Certainly.
Really nice.
Tell you what, I'm sweating. So
Well,
bad.
he's still the chip leader, Johnny Morgan,
for
but
the
look
hairline,
how
guys.
much the trailers have caught. You know, it's not like, you know, maybe a couple birdies. He's probably put one in the water, and now it's all very tight going in the back nine.
That's right.
You know, Nick, Johnny Morgan, sort of a famous poker name in the UK. He was, if I'm not mistaken, the first ever British poker player to win a World Series of Poker bracelet. Guy from the Midlands, John Morgan. And this goes back about 15 years, I think.
How many English bracelets winners are there now? About 10?
Yes.
Your guess is as good as, I mean, offhand, Lawrence Gosney, Praz Bonzi, Willie Tan.
Ram Vaswani.
Yeah, guess 10's a
John Gale.
Yeah, pretty good number there. I think you probably hit it on the head.
Mansour Matloubi, but I think he classified as
300
Welsh,
total.
but maybe British would be a
Call.
better one. I'll look it up online later.
Yeah, you and I like to play, huh?
I play,
You and I like to play. Sorry, man.
Okay, 100 more.
Sorry, my counting's pretty bad. I'm trying to do you as well. I do that. Sorry.
Good try.
Like that.
Doing
Yeah, I
yourself.
like it. I like the style.
What you like when you're marking your scorecard then, mate?
You forget them now and again, don't you?
Yeah.
Check's good.
Okay, check. Check.
An up and down straight draw, and that's
Oh
the nuts.
my.
Check.
And this is incredible. Poor Nachman has at all times been forced to show how good he is at getting out of eel traps.
Let me tell you something, Jesse. The third time it happens, the number 3 is a very big number. You can lay down once, you can lay down twice, but this is the third time he's going to be against McDowell in a situation like this. I don't think he's going to get away from it. He's just going to...
It's so different. You know, but McDowell's always been in position and betting in position. He's check raised here. Well, he's checked. I imagine he's going to check raise. That's like...
Put them all in.
Oh my gosh.
All in.
This is the third time the guy's done it
yeah,
to
you're
him.
right.
He's folded the 9-3. He's folded the jacks on the king high board. He was right the first time. He was right the second time. He's just turned top pair, but he doesn't like it at all. He knows when the guy plays a hand like this, a straightforward guy, with all due respect to Graeme McDowell, you know, look at how many chips in the pot.
But isn't it slightly different? I mean, McDowell didn't bet out here. He's check raised. There's something...
It's super strong. It's
Yeah.
gone check on the flop and then check raise all in on the turn.
You bet.
He's making some sick laydowns at the moment, given his chip stack.
Yes. And I'll tell you what, McDowell put him to the test, and he hasn't showed him yet either, has he?
And he's got to be driving him mad inside. I mean, what's this guy have? He bet he raised, bet he raised, bet he raised.
Yeah,
I mean,
sorry, man. We always end up playing against each other.
And you keep having the best hand, Graeme, every single time.
McDowell's doing well not to show him. He knows he's driving the guy mad and isn't going to give him the satisfaction of how good a decision Nachman's made.
I'm going to take my hat off to this Daniel Nachman. Listen, I'm out the door earlier on. I might be out the door with the 2 jacks. I might have been out the door with the ace. I'm not bet folding that turn. I don't have enough chips. I'm stubborn. And you know what? Yeah. He's just made 3 really good laydowns.
He could use a hat, actually, Nachman. But I mean, you're right. He's not just playing good; he's playing stellar. He's shown a lot of character.
Pass.
And these golfers all know something about character, but Nachman's given them a lesson himself. And Nachman's moved all in here from the button. Morgan's limped. And Nachman's moved all in, and
775.
You know, what's John going to do here? And did Nachman make the right play?
Absolutely the right play. He's getting pretty low. He's got an ace. He's unlucky if Morgan's got a big hand because he did limp with queens earlier. But
who dares wins?
I think he's going to get called though, and it's going to be very close percentages. Maybe 55-45 to the ace-3.
Yeah, I mean a chancy hand for Nachman, but you know what? If you're forced to make a marginal decision, you have to make it. He's been making the best of bad decisions. Bad options all night long, and he's in here with a 60% chance.
Well, I want to see him double up here. He's been making some really good poker decisions all the way through, and it would be really, really rough justice if he gets knocked out here.
And yet a lesson for us all.
Yeah, I mean, make good decisions like this in the long run, you'll come out a big winner. On any given day, the deck can really, really be cruel to you. But let's see an ace out there.
Morgan's got chips back. And it's Nachman all in, but leading. That didn't really change things that flop. The king or the queen still a bit destructive.
Well, it means if he hits the king or the queen, he's still got plenty of outs to make a straight or 2 pair or trip. So,
you hear my heart?
Yeah, he's saying I am a little nervous. It's a big moment here for Nachman.
And that's not it.
Just needs to dodge 6 cards to the river.
Could be
bad river.
Bad river. He's feeling it. He's feeling it. No. 2 pair.
Okay, 65, 60.
He has been forced to work for it. He's kept his nerve. And, you know, when you've been battered around like a sea cod, it is hard to sometimes stick those chips in with ace-3, even if you know if it's marginally overall the right play. You see daggers behind every stone.
Battered around like a sea cod.
You know, an efficient chip shot. With that double up, Nachman still on the bottom. But you know what? 1,700. He's going to feel like he's got 1,700 million.
Absolutely. He's going to feel great having just under his starting stack. And you know what, Jesse? If he doubles up through any other player, he becomes the chip leader. So it's great to see Daniel. He's playing well. Great to see him back in this.
Pass.
It'll be interesting to see, you know, what it's going to take for someone to get their chips in. Basically, you look at any of these 6 players on the table, and if there's an all-in between 2, it's going to be lifeblood stuff for both players at the same time.
200.
Yeah, they're at the point now with many of them around the 10 big blind mark. If they're going to play a pot, they're going to be playing it for everything.
Torrance having to think. I mean, he was somewhere between a steal, a limp, and a fold, and I think it was his stack size. Look at this. I mean, talk about lying in the weeds and then coming out, guns blazing. He may be a city man.
I'll tell you what. No limit hold'em. It's not all about the strength of your hand. It's about your position, your table image. He's got a very good table image, and the stack sizes.
I can't believe that I'm actually here. It's just such a nice achievement, like, to be here. You know, it's a very weird experience at the moment. You know, especially with these stars, and to beat like I said, 11,000 people to get online, and then actually come here and then think to yourself, you're going to hopefully try and win £7,000. It's a hell of a lot of money. That's just to get through, and then £20,000 is unbelievable. I'm really looking forward to it.
$100 up and 200 in, and Morgan on the hook. Twos.
Well, there seems to be a bit of a raising culture at the moment on the table. Is he going to limp or is he going to raise?
Pass. Pass. Pass.
He's just limped in.
Call.
Call.
Got action.
Twos don't play that well, because there's always going to be, if there's two opponents, possibly 4 overcards. We can see there's 3 overcards against him, a king, a jack, and a 4.
And they especially don't play well when with the size of these blinds in relation to the stacks, huh?
Absolutely. I would have liked to have seen a raise from Johnny there, but, you know, they check to him. It's not a bad flop.
This is the thing he has done well. I think his bet sizing has been good all night, Nick, and also his aggression.
Yeah, I mean, the aggression's been good. 400 into 600, there's fine. 3 or 400 does the job. He's got the best hand. He takes it down. He can't afford to let his opponents really see another card. Even a 3 would counterfeit him. So I like the way he's actually taken the initiative on that flop and taken it down.
And with that, he who dares wins. It's a phrase that you could really fit into any sport. Poker counts. Especially on a Saturday in golf when they make those pins a little bit attractive. Go for it. It's moving day. Nachman, does he have enough for anything but an all-in? He's got 6.5 big blinds.
Well, he's put half his stack in. It's the same thing, really.
He will call the shove?
Oh, absolutely.
All in.
We raise all in.
Well, Vandevelde, I wonder if he would have called this, or, you know, made this move if Nachman had moved straight all in.
Can't call. Can raise, can't call.
Pass.
Ooh,
that's a big mistake. That's a big mistake.
And you could have seen 2 different ways for that hand to go. Had Nachman open shoved, Vandevelde might not have called.
He probably would have still called. I mean, he fancied his hand and he's pretty low stacked. And I think now I can start to get a bit of insight into these great folds earlier on. Maybe Daniel does fear a bit too much that the opponent has the best hand. And in that case, he's made a bit of an error there.
Give me something nice on the button. It shows that I'm bluffing to raise. 4 of a kind.
Pass.
I'll tell you, when Vandevelde lost those kings, you thought he was an afterthought. He's looming large, and here comes Johnny.
Cool.
I heard a great story about John Morgan.
Cool.
When he was at a tournament in Miami, and he lost a prop bet with someone. He had to dye his hair shocking bright blue, like a Smurf. Tim Fincham, the PGA Tour commissioner, has called him into his office, and oh my gosh,
look
full
at this.
house.
Full house.
Check.
Nachman's checking the hell out of this one.
Check.
Check.
He needs them to hit an ace, a king, something that makes him a hand.
Morgan's shown a tendency to bet on the turn, hasn't he, if it gets checked around again.
That's right, Jesse. And there we go again. Regular as clockwork.
And I wonder if Nachman is going to have so few chips that Morgan almost feels like he has to call for the shove.
Bit of Hollywood here.
I'll tell you what, it's not that far from Germany these days. Budding film industry. And look at that acting. Now, what kind of call is this from Morgan? Anyway, so Fincham said, we really can't have this, John, this blue hair. It's not good for the image of the tour. How long do you plan to have it? And he said, oh, well, I'm going to get rid of it. Only about a week. Fincham said, okay. He said, I'm thinking of dyeing my hair red next week. Morgan. Well, he's laid it down here. And you know what? I don't know, not the easiest lay down, though. He had some kind of equity there, didn't he?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, ace high might be good some of the time. He had to look at the odds. Obviously, it was a bit too much for him to call. And that's the thing. If he raises the a6 in position, he gets rid of hands that can beat him on the flop. He's let in the 7-3, and the board's come 3-7-3. So, you know, that's one reason why you raise, build the pot with the best hand, and make bad hands pay.
Nice, please. 100, 200.
Still happy-go-lucky. It's like Happy Gilmore, really. Does have a swashbuckling style on the tour. He's back on the European tour. Been off for a couple of years, dealing with his injuries and health issues, and now back on the European tour full-time. He had a top 10 finish recently.
Raise.
You see, now talk about taking the hint. He realizes, doesn't he? But you're not sure about it, are you?
Well, he's out of position. His hand's not that strong, but there's an idea in his head. I mean, Daniel might just go straight all in here.
I saw him fold sevens. That was much earlier, and he didn't have nearly as much information on the table.
Yeah, he's going all in now.
That's strong, isn't it? That's a man who wants to win.
Wow, and I don't think he's going to get rid of Graeme. Graeme hasn't seen many hands. In his mind, he's not... Oh, he's laid it down.
There's a raise and a re-raise. Now, I wonder if Morgan... You know, it's not much of a hand.
What's with the glasses? Can you look at me normally? Got something to hide?
If you could see Daniel's hand, he would call.
How much you got there?
He can't. He wants to know how much it is.
I think he's trying to get a read off this gentleman here. He's asking him questions. He's giving him a good look. He's trying to put him in the stew pot. Can he sense tension? It's not a very good hand, ace-8. But it is in a good spot here.
I saw you, huh?
Good skills, man.
Every hit, not on there.
Table's gotten very silent. The internet qualifiers really starting to push these chips fire with fire. Tell you, the chips have, it's not for a lack of trying, the chips haven't been moving, they've balanced out. But Stevens, the nominal chip leader, and he's deserved every minute of it. And Morgan, 1,500 only.
2-5 3-5.
You did mention it. What an internet. How many languages do you think are spoken on this table here? And,
well, normally an educated man like Jean will speak English, French, maybe a bit of German, Italian, Spanish.
Raise.
And a bit of Chinese?
Maybe.
5 total.
Yeah, I think you're right. He is a man of the world, isn't he?
Yes.
Wow. I fear for Sam's future at this table.
Wow.
It's very difficult.
5 total, 3 more. Cool.
Wow.
Explain that to me.
This is just not good.
I mean, was he thinking...
It's not a hand that you trap with these stat sizes. He should just go all in, make Sam make the decision.
And, I mean, Torrance has a chance not to go broke here, I guess.
Check.
Well, what else going to happen if Sam goes all in?
I think ace queen's a pretty easy
Check.
call.
Yeah.
Sam's done the right thing, yeah. Sam's done the right thing. Now the money goes in. This is it. This is it here. Aces and kings with a queen.
The pot.
You're saying Sam's done the right thing. Why? Because he has to realize that Nachman's calling range is so narrow?
Yeah, and he might be a bit aware that he could be being trapped here. I mean, the guy's called a big percentage of his stack. He's obviously not called with any hand. Sam's just turned top pair with a relatively decent kicker, but there is a flush out there. There are 2 kings out there.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not. It's effectively bet 1100. Sam's only got 1350.
Would Nachman have bet an ace with a lower kicker?
All in.
Yeah, I can't see how Sam's getting off this. It's 250 more to Nachman, and Sam's going to need help.
Nachman's worried about the 3 kings. Yeah, he's glad to see that. It was an interesting hand. It seemed like on every street that the money should all go in. It managed to all get on the turn. It's just one of those car crashes, really. It's got to be an ace, a king, or a queen now.
Well done, Daniel.
That didn't do it.
And
yeah. A couple tough spots for Sam, and this game was very active for him. He just never really managed to convert good starting hands into big pots.
He was our pre-match favourite. He was coming in here with the most confidence, most experienced player. He's now out in 5th place. And I'll tell you what, not getting those big hands paid off, those queens and those kings, probably cost him this.
He's more than a sporting legend. He is a hero in Europe for his performances in the Ryder Cup. And poker table didn't do him justice tonight, did it? Funny sort of hand. I mean, Nachman took an interesting line there. The money did go all on the turn there.
Yeah, Nachman should have gone all in pre-flop, but the money went in on that turn. When that ace comes, Sam's committed. Nachman had the best hand. He had a good kicker.
It was a dodgy hand. I had the ace with 10 kicker, 2 kings, so he went. He put a good bet in, bet the pot. I had about 8,000 left, so took a chance at the wrong time.
Well, the blind's up to 150,300, and obviously, if you're Nachman, you're feeling better. You're feeling the best at the table, perhaps, but you've only got 15 big blinds, so Nick, it is a little bit fragile.
It's actually in very good condition, mate, to be fair. Very good condition.
And for Morgan, if this is going to be it,
breezy, it comes straight up that valley.
Back it up.
You know what I mean? So it was quite breezy, I must admit.
300.
I mean, he's got enough fold equity here, doesn't he? That he could push a lot of better hands out. Not all of them, obviously.
Sure, they'll speed up nicely.
You know, how important is it for Morgan to win this pot? Crucial. I think he must bet on the flop if Vandevelde checks.
Up and down straight draw.
It's going to make it easier.
Check.
Check.
Oh, Johnny! Maybe he's actually kind of trapping here in a weird way.
Yeah, quite hard to trap with queen high, but that'll do. Bink.
Check.
Wow, he's double trapping now. He's got the guy drawing dead. Look at the percentages. Absolutely drawing dead. An ace would be a great card, even a 4. I think John's just checking. If he was going to bluff, he'd bluff the turn. Yeah.
Check.
400.
400.
And it's a nice size bet.
Pass.
He's going to make a song and dance about this. No, quietly. He's in the zone now. Look.
I think he's focused. I think he's focused.
Did you beat the straight? No, I had the straight.
He ain't lying either. 1950, and that's only 12,000 from Glory.
And 300.
How small you were. Big. Le grand.
Pass button, and now blind on blind. Vandevelde and Morgan, the original competitors. Sort of like Adam and Eve.
Jean should be going all in there. He's getting low. It's 450 in the middle. Queen 8 suited, blind on blind. Stick it in. Push and pray.
You give Morgan the advantage here.
Well, he's been out flopped.
Yeah. He's Wow.
300.
I was going to say, Vandevelde hasn't shown a lot of aggression without the cards. He's picked a good time for it. I mean, Morgan's hand doesn't look that good.
It's not that brilliant, but he has got a pair. And now that might put the brakes on Vandevelde. He needs a 9 and a 9 or an 8 at this stage. Well, now the king makes both of them a straight.
He may go all in. It would. You certainly
a double belly buster.
There's
500.
That's a good bet. That showed a lot of courage, didn't it?
That showed heart and commitment to the cause. A nice bet on the turn there by Jean.
You don't think this man's got nerve? He stood up to the plate and double-barreled. Vandevelde. You gotta love his spirit.
There's those chips that I want to come to sit down.
Chips to daddy. Talking, we mentioned that Paul Stevens had been lying in wait and Nachtmann. What if Vandevelde ends up being the loose-fisted maniac that blows these guys to kingdom come?
Wow, Ace King, McDowell's limped Ace 9. Ace King here for Vandevelde, and a big raise.
Raise to 1,000 total.
His raises have come in spurts, and McDowell's going to have to think about this.
Nice.
Yeah.
You got something?
They're right here.
You got something special there, have you?
Put 700 and you might have a chance to see it.
Is either of these guys giving anything away?
Graham's played a very cautious game today, and it's worked for him. I'm not convinced he's going to want to take a big risk here. And in fact, he's dominated and in a lot of trouble, so...
Come on, you know what? I'm going to have a look.
Good boy.
Another 7.
Let me have a look again.
He's talked McDowell into making this call.
He's very charismatic, Jean Vandevelde. The gift of the gap there got McDowell to call. He's in great shape. Be interesting when they both miss, though. But I think Vandevelde's just going to power through if he gets checked to. I expect to see a check and a big bet all in from Vandevelde.
What is he thinking about a stop and go? No.
All in.
All in.
That's the right play. That is the right play no matter what.
He had less than a pot size bet left. What was he going to do?
Nice.
Could this man sell you a croissant or what?
That's the first misstep from Graeme McDowell. He should be raising the ace 9, not limp calling it there. He was dominated. He had a bad hand. And look at that. From a low point of 525, it nearly has 4,000 chips. This guy's back in it, Jesse.
Didn't want you to go, buddy.
Yes.
That's nice of you.
Certainly is.
Didn't want you to leave me.
You take care of the professionals over there, but very reluctant.
Didn't want you to leave me, buddy. I'd have been very lonely over here without you.
Professional players over there.
That is good insurance in a rainstorm. 2 jacks and holes in your shoes.
This is going to go all in now. This is going to be a big pot, Jesse. What do you think?
All in.
I think it already is.
Pass.
Morgan got this one exactly right.
I have to call. I call.
Now I'm not exactly sure. I think these guys are very close in chips.
900 more.
Yikes.
McDowell had lost a few. We'll have to count them after. But anyway, this pot 28.50. Nick,
good,
nothing in it really,
That's
huh?
good too, though.
This is what they call a coin flip here.
50-50. She's a coin toss.
It's a flip of a coin who wins this one. McDowell a slight favourite with 2 jacks, and he's a much bigger favourite now.
Call it.
2 pair.
It's getting better for you. Bye-bye.
Morgan
Still
better
a
start
couple of
singing.
Bad little cards in there. Go easy on me.
More than a couple.
Be gentle.
He's singing now.
That's not gentle.
It's not soft.
His eyes have lit up.
He's still waiting on that last one. You know it's never over till the last putt's in.
900.
That was not gentle.
Sorry, dude.
Ah, good hand, mate. Good hand.
You know what? I think he generally doesn't want to rub that in. These guys like each
Gotta
other.
play
There's
with
no
those.
reason to rub that in.
How to play with this?
You know, that's the fine line in sportsmanship, isn't it? Knowing when it actually hurts and not taking that mickey out.
A couple of heavy hits.
Yeah, it might be a slightly empty compliment. These guys are very competitive, so I'm sure Graeme will be disappointed losing that pot. But our boy, John E., he's still in this, Mr. Morgan.
Rub salt in the wound
Sorry.
there.
Well, I'm all right.
Hello, Johnny.
Thanks, man. Nice hand, dude.
Yeah, thanks, boss. Cheers, boss. Sorry about that, man.
All right.
Tell you, when John Morgan, when he won his
things, you get a good hand.
he was on the Euro Pro Tour trying before he had even gotten a card, and he was invited into the final Champions Tour tournament, where the winner can get his European Tour card.
Cool.
Sank a 50-foot putt on the end to win the tournament and grab his card.
Check.
No worries.
He was only the second rookie to win a European Tour and PGA Tour card in the same year, so just when he started.
Within a couple months. Within a couple months he did it.
Don't do that, it's going to make me want to
Made
go
it through
again.
all 3 rounds of qualifying school. And
All in.
All in.
nice. Very nice.
Yeah, of course. All in. Why
Call.
you got 6?
Thanks, man. I ain't
And for
touching it.
McDowell here, there's not many ways for him to lose this hand, Nick, but you feel that 7
9 and 6.
just could be ugly.
That would be very ugly. That would be very ugly.
The double up here would put him right back into the mix.
Get
No
out
one
of
wants
there,
to
Graeme.
die.
Isn't a good one now.
That's just when I need a bit of love. I got some love, but
Well, Vandevelde's now
7
drawing
meters.
dead. Just a 7 for the
Down to
split.
5 coming.
stay away.
Pretty good news for McDowell.
He's back in the game!
Well, I don't know about
Legend.
Okay, 6 for 6.
Bogeyed the first, birdied the last,
that. Couple
back
of
to
painful little
par.
hands there for me.
Back to his starting stack. And do you know what? The good thing is these guys seem to be enjoying themselves.
They are. I like that fist bump there. Wasn't bad.
As far as the venue and stuff
I heard
goes.
it's unbelievable. I mean, with the sense of the public coming in, they keep the expenses right down.
Yeah,
When it comes to when you
Yeah.
go in the tents, it's really cheap.
They haven't let the
Going all
commercial
in.
kind of part of it kind of go through
Okay,
the roof
Mark,
still.
is that okay? Call all in?
Why not?
It's just gonna be a question here now. I guess
You've called all in.
Yeah, that's okay. It's fair.
there's been no action behind him, Nick.
Okay,
It's just
all
the
in.
terminology he's gotten a bit confused with, but
Pass.
his intentions were kind of clear there, don't you think?
His intentions are clear, but he's got to be careful when he uses the word call. When he says the word call, he might be bound to just call a big blind at 300, but he actually wanted to go all in.
That looked like that's the kind of stare that could call you with the Queen Jack. He who dares wins, he's thinking. What is he thinking?
He likes Jack Queen. It's probably one of the better hands he's seen in a
Cool.
while. Yeah, he's
Cool.
called.
Well,
Wow.
hey, looking over there saying this guy is very aggressive. I might have to gamble a little bit to beat him. He's not that strong. He's not. It's 60-40. I don't think he was getting the price, but he wasn't like miles away. There was some equity in that pot.
Well, he's very lucky that Stevens doesn't have King Queen or King Jack, but at
He
the
is.
same time, he's a 60-40 shot. There's 4,650 chips in the middle. This is a big, big pot for this stage of the tournament. Wow, and it's not over yet.
It is certainly not. Talk about not wanting to make 2 pair. Bar the 9, say
one.
Stevens.
I'm going to do what they do in the pros. Just stand up like that.
It's always TV.
Do a lady doing the pros.
You're going to hit another queen now, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're going to hit another queen now.
No, I don't.
Don't.
Don't matter if I do it, a green, does it?
Not now. It has to be the ace or 9 now. It is-
Ace or 9. Give me the bad boy. No, all yours, my man.
And I think that's it.
Great hand.
Chips, please.
Has Stevens got more than
Actually, Stevens was just a bit lower than I think
you got more than me.
Morgan.
Yeah.
But Morgan will be left with the proverbial bowler rice.
Yeah, that's why I need
And the
chips.
bowler hat.
She needs your chips to know what you got, mate.
Yeah, do you want me to pass them to you?
Look at this. So this is going to make Stevens the chip leader for
3,450.
sure.
No,
He's
that's
pretty
not.
excited.
2.
Horseshoes and horse racing.
50.
Johnny Morgan down to 1,200. He's suddenly started banging it around.
You don't want anybody to see.
It is one of the things about golf, Nick. It is the ultimate gentleman's game. You know, it's the only sport where players are expected to call penalties on themselves, and they do.
I don't when I play. There's balls coming out my trouser leg when I'm in the woods. No, I mean, yeah, you're right. It's a gentleman's game, and when you're wagering, you have to play by the rules. It's a great gambling game as much as playing.
I'm all in.
Good boy. Good boy. He can't wait forever. Queen 10.
Pass.
And what would that be?
Pass.
1,050.
Pass.
I think he's getting called here.
1,050 there.
Well, now he's accused him of counting them wrong. What do the maths say here?
He's getting 2-1 on the call, and against most hands, you know, he's in pretty good shape with ace-3. He might even be winning. He is winning on this occasion.
But it's ace-3. It's never in great shape against any hand, and sometimes in bad shape against some.
But that 2-1's going to tip it, and he's got the chip lead, and there's an opportunity to take a player out, and it's suited, which gives him a tiny bit more equity. I mean, all of those reasons considered, and the fact that...
Okay, I want to see that.
Yeah, he's a French guy who's a calling station. Good luck to him, Jean.
Yeah. Yeah. Say, I want to see. Want to see in French? Yeah, I call. Okay.
That's French for call.
2, 4, 6, 750.
And
Marty's like the poker police there. Don't think Jean took too kindly for that. He was clear on what he wanted to do. He wants to see Johnny Morgan's cards and his favourite.
Little smile there. This is it.
I love you, man.
I know you do. I love you too. Kiss you after the show. The tension is rising to the maximum. Are you shaking?
74% now, slightly better than pre-flop.
Absolutely, he's a 3-1 favourite now to take John Morgan out.
Ooh.
Wow.
A jack as an extra out.
The 7, a broad spectrum here. Anything that doesn't pair the board in the middle ranges.
Okay. Yes, there's a good percentage there, my friend. Wow.
7s and 10s and queens.
And anything.
Oh, that's not one.
And a 3.
Cheers, my man. Cheers, boss.
Thank you.
He is a character, and you gotta like the flair that he brings to the poker table.
Cheers, boys.
John Morgan.
Thank you very much. Cheers, man. All the best. Enjoy. Right, peace out, gang. Enjoy. Go
I'd
crazy.
like to play a round of golf with him, or a game of poker.
Definitely, either. He seems like a great guy. Unlucky today. Well played, John.
Maybe not a lucky hat, though.
Might have to burn that hat.
Amazing. Vandevelde, after losing with those kings to Morgan's full house earlier, has ended up coming back to take Morgan out.
Extremely very lucky because what did he have? A 7, a 3.
And Vandevelde now, he's chatting. What a resurrection.
Absolutely. 5,800 in chips. Big chunk of the pie chart there. He's going to be the man to beat.
Nachman hasn't been picking up hands, but does he have a choice soon?
It was alright, it's a bit of fun actually. It started off obviously like a racehorse straight out of the gates, you know, just came, got a little full house straight near the word go and was chip leader by a mile, and just bled me after that. They just kicked my butt.
Welcome back. Still 4 left, and the blind's going up. Doesn't help McDowell, who's in a bit of rough. That's good enough.
I'm all in.
All in.
And he's all in now with the ace-9.
I think it's the first time that McDowell has been all in a situation where he's in danger of getting knocked out.
5 more.
I call.
Call. Cards, please.
Been nice knowing you, boys. Been nice knowing you. It's been real. Been fun.
It's okay. On the line.
Yeah, he's in good shape here, but 69%. He's only going to win 7 out of 10 times. There are
chances. Both suited. All the best.
50-50.
2,000 getting back to his starting stack. That's not a bad result if it happens.
Well, he's 70% favourite to do so, so not anymore.
Oh, wow. You know, he just seemed to feel it, didn't he?
Absolutely.
Now, there are some aces.
And some backdoor spades.
Not good. Not good. Graeme McDowell is going to lose here in the playoff. Yes.
Well done.
Lipped out.
And they're dropping like flies, Jeppy.
Second session.
What are you doing to me?
I'm going to leave you, partner. Going to leave you. Thanks, boys. Well done. Nice to meet you both.
Played his cards well, Graeme. And I think
Thanks,
great spirit these guys have played in.
Thanks, Marty.
Lost that big race and then lost another race. 2 races and knocked him out. Vandevelde about half the chips, and between Nachman and Steven just over the other half. This is going to be a lot of fun, actually.
Anyone's game.
Everyone was definitely playing very aggressively at the table. Obviously, good to play with some of my friends and colleagues from the golf world, and obviously great to see a couple of really nice lads qualifying in from the online stuff. And they got off to a slow start on the table, but they were kind of showing us pros how it was done towards the end a little bit. But it was a lot of fun.
I mean, I consider you as friends now. Been here for 5 hours, but.
Jean Vandervelde's looking around for his golfing buddies.
Yeah.
He's left with the 2 internet qualifiers. He's there representing the golfers.
And, you know, if this is a Pro-Am tourney,
Call.
Check.
Check.
All scores count. I think this is pressure on everybody, really. This is you know, sealing the deal in one of these, even if you've got poker experience, whatever, sealing the deal is tough. Oh my gosh!
We're going to see action here.
Well, I mean, Stevens has got the nuts.
500.
And he's going to raise. He's going to be worried about the flush draw.
Is he?
Yeah, he's going to raise.
Cool.
It's such a big hand. He must think that Vandevelde's drawing dead.
Well, Vandevelde's far from drawing dead. I thought he would have raised there. I spoke to him earlier, and I know that he doesn't like flushes, but...
Are the alarm bells going off in Vandevelde's head?
Well, I think Vandevelde has shown some stubbornness that when he starts betting, he keeps betting.
Check.
I'm all in.
All in.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Oh, he's going to call.
He is?
Call or do you want to count? Calling. Okay, cards.
He
please.
needs a heart for a flush. He wasn't going to be bullied out of it. And now, obviously, Vandevelde has chips back. You know, I don't exactly know what how much the bet was, but he was getting some kind of odds here on the call. But he has to have a heart to win.
He needs his flush. He's down to 20% of the deck. Straight versus the draw.
And there's the heart! Straight into the middle of the cup!
And Jean Vandevelde looks impassively.
Oh my gosh. I tell you, his voice didn't even waver when he said, I'll see it. He called instantly. You could say, Nick, that if you were going to call the all-in, you know, you would wanted to bet the all-in. But, oh my gosh.
He's smiling now. He looked impassive after
my
winning the
gosh.
hand, but he's smiling now.
Oh, you got to feel for Paul Stevens there. You said it. You said it. He doesn't really like the straight draw. He did everything he could to chase Vandevelde away, but to no avail.
Absolutely. Jean Vandevelde probably made a bit of an iffy call on the turn with just a flush draw. And bink, there it was. The 2 of hearts on the river, and now we have a big, big chip leader.
I'm actually over the moon, but I know I've been beat, unfortunately, you know, by a bit of luck more than anything. But I'm so proud, like, you know, that I've got this far, and I beat Mr. Sam Torrance, which I said, you know, at the start, like, to say to myself, like, I believe he's a brilliant golfer. He's a nice guy as well to get on with. But unfortunately, Sam, I beat you.
Well, Nick, they say poker tests your character, and it does, but Jean Vandevelde, this is a man who has had his character tested on the world stage like no other, and he's held his head high. On the other side, Daniel Nachman, he's had his character tested tonight too. Both these guys are going to be winners, but there's only one seat at that final table.
Only one seat. Jean Vandevelde with a big chip lead.
He's won more hands. He's been more aggressive overall, but Nachman seems to be a very dangerous player.
Yeah, he's played well. He's got away from a lot of good hands. He's played some good poker. Only one misstep with the ace, but bring it on now. This is a big hand, heads up.
Raise.
To 800 total.
800 total.
It's just a min raise. It sounds like a lot, 800, but in fact it is only 400 more. There's still an argument as to whether or not you can be peeling off flops here. What do you think about that?
It's a very small raise. It very much depends on... Calling with these hands depends on if you're going to make moves on flops. So if you think Daniel's going to be straightforward and he can make a move and use his chip stack, then it might be profitable to call. I mean, they've both missed, so...
Check. It's a good flop for the ace-king overall.
Overall, yeah, ace-king's going to be winning a decent percentage of the time.
Nachman has a bit of an awkward stack here. See, that's half his stack. It's nearly impossible to fold for a raise no matter what.
And that's what Vandevelde's got to be mindful of, the fact that, you know, it's hard to push a guy around who now just c-bets the flop for half his stack. So it's a big continuation bet there. He says he's committed to the hand. And if he runs into a 7 or a 10, he runs into a 7 or a 10. You're going to get a lot of these hands like 10-7 on the button.
Call.
Call.
You can call, fold or raise. Maybe a raise there would have been the best plan from Daniel, because Jack Deuce would be in the dustbin.
Maybe a raise from Vandevelde would have worked as well. It's amazing, isn't it? These things that happen here.
And this is the kind of hand that you're not going to get Vandevelde off. There's 800 in the middle. He's been showing he's making some big bets. He might bet 1,000.
1,000.
Bavoom.
Pass.
Nachman's thinking to himself, you know, he could have done that with anything, but you know what? I still can't go for it. I don't want to put my whole tournament on the line.
So,
No, it's fine.
it's okay.
4,500 is the stack size for the German. That's 11 big blinds.
I raise.
Raise.
Good boy. He didn't raise to 10-7, but the dynamics of the game means he hasn't raised for a while.
I re-raise.
Good boy.
Re-raise.
Wow.
That's really strong. Now, the size of the re-raise is really important here.
Keep the blue behind the line.
The size of the re-raise is really important, Nick. How much should he re-raise?
All
And
in.
now, say how much you want to raise by.
Because he...
1,000.
You got me.
Because any amount that, yeah, I mean, he didn't even have to do it. Any amount that he puts in, if Daniel went all in, he'd be getting such a huge price on the last chips that he should just put it straight all in.
Right, and Nachman knew that, but
200.
Vandevelde didn't want to put himself in a spot where he started to talk himself out of calling, did he?
No, he had King 7 suited. He seems to know
that was good.
That these kind of hands are impressive, and picked up on something maybe there from Daniel, that Daniel didn't have a good hand. Daniel had 10-6 offsuit and was going to fold, so well played, Jean. That's a nice hand. That's a pretty hand, Jesse.
Cool.
And he's called here, I think, to reshove.
Wow, and this is a good hand as well. He might be limp re-raising.
Raise.
Raise.
I'm all in.
Yeah, and he's going to get called.
Raise to 1,400 total. Re-raise all in.
I like the play from Nachman. I mean,
And a call.
you can see, you can understand what he was thinking. I want to get these chips in first, maybe get some fold equity against certain hands. There was none against this hand.
There's none against this hand, and once John's put that many in, he doesn't have much fold equity at all, really. So he should have just open chipped it if he was going to play it. But
okay.
The percentages are pretty close. He's, you know, Jean Vandevelde with ace-10. He's definitely not a huge favourite to win this hand.
But he does have chips back. If Vandevelde takes this through, he is through. Nachman needs it just one time. Clubs. How fitting.
How fitting. It's going to be a lot harder for him now. Jean Vandevelde, a huge favourite now. Can't hit the queen or the jack of clubs, obviously.
That's opened up. Actually, it's given Nachman more outs because now there's 3 9s in the deck in addition to the 2 jacks and 2 queens. That looks low.
It's over.
Mark,
nice play.
Thank you. Enjoyed it. Enjoyed it.
Okay.
You take care.
It was a very, very well played heat. Vandevelde, very worthy winner here tonight, Nick.
Thanks.
Daniel played his heart out. Unlucky Daniel in second, but what a character. Love this Jean Vandevelde guy. Big fan. Great that he's in the final, Jesse.
Thank you.
It was funny. Golfer, good entertainer, and heads up was tired, and I searched the coin flip till the end. I got the coin flip, and okay, with poker.
I feel good, but I know that I've been lucky on a few times, and so we'll see. We'll see if I can keep on getting lucky and keep making a couple of good calls, and that's what it's about.
Next time, rugby union and league players tackle each other over the felt. It's an international lineup for one of the toughest heats in the Sports Stars Challenge 4.